Hey guys, good afternoon, and it is afternoon. Yep, it is. I've had this study on my desk, and I wanted to talk to you about it. So I'm here at the WebMD offices. For those of you who don't know, I'm the Chief Medical Director of WebMD, which means I see a lot of health news. And this one in particular really caught my eye. It's specifically talking about meat in your health. And today, there's the plant-based diet phenomenon, which is a good phenomenon, right? And then there's the keto phenomenon, which is kind of, for most people, the anti-plant-based. It's usually a lot of meat. So I wanted to bring this to you guys so that you have at least some of the latest thinking on how eating meat and different types of meat affects your health, all right? So what they found in this study, and I'm going to go into more detail, is that those who ate more red meat or processed meat had a significantly higher risk of heart disease and stroke. Okay, so let's get into some of the details. They're not saying to never eat it, but it definitely needs to be something very much in moderation. And here's why. Because even 2 servings or more a week was associated with an increased risk of heart disease or early death. All right, now, you may have heard another study that their conclusion was they couldn't quite tell if there was an association between red and processed meat and heart disease and stroke. This study found a definite connection, and here's the thing, you gotta look at the totality of the evidence that we have at our disposal. Hey Karen, I was actually going to call you very soon about the kids because you have a date coming up soon, all right? So when it comes to meat and the risk of heart disease, you got to look at everything that we know. There's been a lot of research on this topic. That's why in the title I put the truth about, or at least the latest information about meat in your health. Okay, so let's get into some of the details. In 2015, the World Health Organization actually declared processed meat as a proven cancer-causing substance, and possibly even red meat. And we're going to get a bit more into processed meat here in a second. So this new research, they looked at 30,000 people, followed them over a period of 30 years, basically inquiring about what they're eating, how much meat, and everything. Like they didn't just ask about red meat and processed meat, they had to ask about their dietary intake, and then they associated that with the risk of heart disease and stroke, specifically in this study. That's what they were looking at. So what they found is that those who ate just 2 servings of processed meat a week had a 7% higher risk of heart disease and stroke. Okay, so 7% might not sound huge, but here's the point. It's a significant increase in your risk of heart attack and stroke. Processed meats, let's talk about that a second. I have a list up here. I wanted to make sure to go over what processed meats are. Sausages, hot dogs, salami, ham, that might not be one you think of, cured bacon, really salted and cured meat. It's really anything that goes curing, salting, smoking, drying, or canning. And then I wanted to talk about a bit about jerky, because I know now you can buy jerky that says it has no added nitrites or nitrates. No added. Here's the problem. It still may be in there, and those have specifically been linked to an increased risk of cancer, especially colorectal cancer. So even though it says no added, it doesn't mean it's not there. So just be careful that when you're eating jerky these days, they're trying to position it as a healthier snack, but in reality, it might be healthier. It's still not a healthy snack. Okay, let's come back to the findings of this study. As I said, 2 servings a week of processed meat, 7% higher risk of heart attack and stroke. 2 or more servings of unprocessed meat, you mean like steak, beef, pork, unprocessed meat, a 3% higher risk of heart attack and stroke. Still higher than if you don't eat it, but better than processed meat. Chicken, poultry, turkey, what about that? they found a link, but it was inconsistent. So we can't really say for sure from this study if there is a link between poultry and the risk of heart disease and stroke. So I think that gives us some assurance that certainly, as we've suspected, poultry is a better choice than red and processed meat as far as the risk of heart disease and stroke, and honestly, probably cancer, specifically colorectal cancer. They found absolutely no association with fish and seafood. So as far as meat-based protein sources, your best source is fish and seafood. Second best, probably chicken. Next best, probably red meat. And then at the very bottom is processed meat. Red meat and processed meat, make those less than 2 times a week. A combination of those two, less than 2 times a week. Because they found that the more red and processed meat that people ate, the higher their risk of heart disease and stroke. I want to talk a little bit more about this because of the keto craze today. Yes, you're going to lose weight. Here's the thing, guys. We do not know the long-term effects. Actually, I should take that back. I think we do know the long-term effects of you eating a lot of red meat and saturated fat, if that's the direction that you have chosen to go on with your keto. You do not have to go that way, and I need to do another video on this. You can get into ketosis without eating red meat and fat. Plain and simple, period. You do not need bacon and butter and a lot of eggs. Eggs is another topic I'll talk about later. You don't need all that stuff to do keto, okay? You can do it a healthy way, get yourself into a fat burn zone, and still actually eat quite a bit of vegetables and have a lot of plant-based food. We'll talk about that. Just message me and I'll tell you more. Here's the thing. When you're eating a lot of saturated fats and red meat, probably means you're not eating a lot of vegetables. Vegetables are a food that we know are directly related to a decrease in heart disease, stroke, lots of different cancers, and many other conditions, honestly. Fruits as well, more in moderation in my opinion. But vegetables are your healthiest source of carbohydrates. Anyway, guys, wanted to bring the latest to you on meat. Again, the worst meat for you, processed. Next worst, red meat. Chicken, poultry might be okay. The absolute best is fish and seafood. Take care. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy your lunch if you haven't had it. Hopefully it's seafood after that. And I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.